So what's happening?
I don't know.
You're doing well in the gym.
Yes, doing well in the gym.
Doing cardio or just weights?
Just weights at the moment.
But you are quite good at cardio, aren't you?
I'm very good at cardio. Yeah. Not that I do an awful lot. I just don't know. I think you push yourself hard doing weights. It gets your heart going. I don't know. I often am panting when I put down a heavy weight. So I think it does push your fitness.
You have to recover between sets.
Yeah.
So that's a good measure of fitness, how quickly you can recover, especially if you're pushing yourself hard. But you've done a bit of an assault course or something for the fire brigade, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. So so there's a university, I can't remember which one, but they are doing a study on so they put the age of firefighters up till 60, which will make us the oldest fighters in the world. I think we're the oldest firefighters in the world at 55, but it will make us the oldest in the world by far at 60. But yeah, and so as part of the thing, this university are doing a study on our fitness and how we can maintain our strength and fitness into those later years. And I was randomly selected.
Now you're slightly fortunate. You just fit into the over 40s category.
I turned 40 in May.
So that was a few months ago.
Yeah. And yes, although I'm not doing an awful lot of cardio at the moment, I suppose I have a lifetime of running around like a nutcase.
Well, you have that. You also got good genetics based on your parents. Your mum used to run.
My mum used to be a runner, yeah.
And a pretty good runner. And your dad was a county swimmer. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he was a lifeguard for a bit as well. Yeah.
Okay. And your brother at school was athlete of the year, I remember.
Yes, and my nephew has just got a scholarship into us all for his running.
Okay.
He's competing very well.
Yeah, so we can say your genetics are pretty good. And I've been in the gym with you, and you're pretty tough to keep up with. So what tests were done on you? What did you have to do?
So we had I don't even know what they call it. There was some kind of mask.
It deprives you of oxygen.
It measures the gases coming in and out of you.
Okay.
Have you? I don't know. It cost 40 grand. I remember that much.
Okay, so it analyses what you breathe in and out.
Yeah. And you had to run on a treadmill with this on. And I don't know, every 3 minutes I think they put the gradient up and made it steeper and steeper and steeper. And you just had to maintain something, I don't know, it was 7 miles an hour or something like that, and it just got steeper and steeper and steeper for about 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Something like that.
You were running before a few years back, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, after my accident I got into running.
And how you were...
Because they wouldn't let me lift weights.
Right, so how long were you running then? What sort of distances were you covering?
I don't know, 4 miles and a half an hour.
Okay, so 15 minutes on a treadmill is no great chase for you.
Yeah, it was up a hill. It
right.
got steep and stuff. But yeah.
But not presumably not at the same pace you used to knock out your miles at?
No, so I was running before at 8 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I could keep that up. Well, as I say, I'd do 4 miles and a half an hour. So, which funny, I'd never been into running.
No.
I loved swimming. I was a good swimmer.
Yeah, and we can throw in the mix that you've got flat feet.
Yes.
So you never enjoyed running.
So that's about school. I was good at cross country running, long distance, but I did always suffer with my feet. I was never the best. Craig Pearl always beat me. I was always second best on the long distance.
Yeah, and I was useless. If it was hot, I'd get too hot. But I did have a bit of running last winter when it was cold, and I think in the cold I do much better. But I can't say that I particularly enjoy running. So that was it. That was just on a running machine, or?
Oh no, and then there was I don't know. what you'd call it, I suppose, an assault course, if you like. So it was in full, in your fire gear. Running up and down, 25 metres. 25 or 50? Can't even remember now. It was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
A month ago, probably. But bowling out hose, dragging dummies, carrying weights.
So things which you need a bit of strength for.
Yeah.
And you got lots of strength, didn't you? Because you're always in the gym pumping the iron.
Yeah. So, and my understanding is, I got for the over 40s, I got the best time in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many fire people do you think has done this? They just select one from each station, or?
No. So my understanding was they went to our last medical. Last medicals every 3 years in the fire brigade. We have a medical.
Yeah.
So they went back to our last medicals and just selected people that had flown through. So I suppose
so they're not taking the weakest of you. They're taking those they think are.
Yeah, those they think are doing well.
Mm.
Yeah, they took them, and in actual fact, they selected us by throwing darts at pictures or at our names or something like that.
Okay.
So they got all the people that were in that category, and then just threw darts, and whoever got hit was randomly selected, and that was one.
Scientific method.
Yeah, I suppose it's random.
Okay, and you inadvertently threw into that discussion since your accident.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so 15th of July 2015, this is nearly 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Yeah, I had an accident, quite a bad one. Was electrocuted for a couple of minutes.
So let's just get it clear. It wasn't really your fault. I mean, you've wired in an extractor hood to a kitchen, and you've wired in the plug socket perfectly well. You've got all the power off, taken every precaution that you need to take.
Yeah.
Reconnected the power, and when you've plugged the hood in, there was a wiring fault inside the hood which electrified the outer casing.
Yes.
And you were in bare feet, standing on top of a hob.
Standing on the counter, yeah.
Because it was the plug socket was at ceiling height.
Yeah.
And that's connected you up to the mains, and you couldn't get off it.
No, for a couple of minutes I was caught on it, yeah.
Right. So that was obviously a hideous experience.
I ended up hugging the appliance that was electrocuting me, I think.
Because you had muscle contraction.
Yes,
yeah. But eventually you came off it.
I managed to kick out and sort of do a backwards dive off the counter.
Landing on your head?
Yes.
On a granite floor?
Yes.
Or granite tiled floor?
Yeah. So, well, you won't be able to see on the tape, but I fractured my skull from the top all the way down to the base, and from the back all the way round to the front, like Nicholas.
Right. And the floor was a mess as well, wasn't it?
I actually smashed the tiles with my head.
Yeah. And they're 1/4 inch thick granite or something, aren't they?
They're porcelain tiles, but they were obviously had been. Well, it was onto a concrete floor.
Yeah.
Tiled onto a concrete floor. It's pretty solid. Not a lot of give.
And you were taken after struggling with the ambulance staff, who you were a bit aggressive towards, as is customary with a head injury.
Yes, it's all hearsay, but apparently I did. They struggled with me. Apparently I even tried to bite one of them, and it took 4 of them to hold me down.
So you went full Mike Tyson on you.
Well, I think it was alright. They had me on the stretcher. It was when they was trying to stick needles in me. Apparently I was trying to get a cannula in me, and apparently I didn't like them sticking things in me, so I then wrestled them while on my back.
Right, and they took you to Mile End, didn't they?
No, the London hospital in Whitechapel. I went via Hems in the helicopter.
Yeah. Well, that's Whitechapel Mile End.
Yeah. Mile End Road it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I have no recollection. This is all hearsay.
Right. Well, I didn't hear anything from you for a few days because I didn't hear anything from you, and
Did I phone you from hospital?
no, I think your phone was locked. And in the end, because I couldn't get hold of you on your phone, I phoned your other half and found out that you were in hospital, and no one had thought to tell me.
Right.
Or maybe spoke to your mum. Certainly, it was someone in your family that I spoke to and found out that you were in there, and this was just about the time that you were discharging yourself against medical wishes because you wanted to go home.
Yeah, we left out the part where I had 4 brain hemorrhages and I was in a coma for 3 days.
Okay, well,
But yeah, so
and before this you were quite fit. You were doing the squats in the gym at the time.
yeah, I do lots of training. I've always done lots of training.
But obviously with your brain injury, you
After that, they said
you wasted away a bit, didn't you?
I lost 2 stone. Yeah. Well, probably helped me get good at running. Just light as I think.
But you had good six pack.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But
You kind of lose weight pretty quick when you don't eat. When they feed you through glucose into your veins.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think, well, and even once I was awake, I couldn't keep anything down. I'd eat and vomit. No.
And you had a bit of headache.
Oh, for a long while, I was in a terrible state, to be honest.
You weren't yourself, were you? It's fair to say.
I was not. I was on another planet. The only way I can describe it, I don't know, for a long while. So when I was young, I used to go out. Not that I've done it all the time, but if you went out when you were a kid and you got absolutely rat-ass drunk,
Yeah.
and you come back and your parents will be standing there and you're trying to hide the fact that you've been drinking because you're like 15 years old and they will kill you.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, just for those few minutes where you walk through the door and hold a conversation with them before you manage to get up the stairs and hide in your room, you're just trying your hardest to act normal as if you're not completely wasted. And yeah, to be honest, I was like that for
That was your life.
every day. And yeah.
But this is a testament to your probably your fitness and your determination. You bounced back from it pretty well. They didn't think that your outcome was likely to be as good as it's turned out.
Yeah, so I think they thought I'd be disabled at the time. I think everyone did. Yeah, I did, from what they told me. And no doubt once, they sort of the penny dropped that I was making a particularly good recovery and I may have to return to work as a firefighter. Well, I don't think they was worried about firefighter, just that they thought I would be able to return to
Functioning work.
some kind of work. I wouldn't be, disabled, which didn't sit well with me. To be honest, I don't know.
They wanted to do tests on you as well, didn't they?
all I wanted to do was return to work, and that was my goal, really. Yes, so they did take quite a lot of my blood. They said that, so what they think is normally when somebody is, this is my understanding, so normally when someone's in a coma and they have brain hemorrhages, you bleed out into that part of the brain. Yeah. And wherever you bleed out into, that part of the brain dies. It's called blood pooling, and that part of the brain dies. I obviously had 4 hemorrhages, and I was in a coma. but they said was the main area of research they're doing. So yeah, so they took an amount of my blood and they're doing genetic testing on it, and they said there's research going on into major trauma. It's international.
Because you didn't do that in quite the same way that normal people do. The brain seemed to not be as damaged.
Yeah, so what they're saying is that they expected to find some significant blood pooling and brain damage, but although I had 4 hemorrhages, my blood seemed to coagulate, and
the clotting saved your brain from damage.
Yeah.
So, well, and I mean, that really, it's a testament to how well you've recovered that you've just managed to pass all these tests for the fire brigade, being over 40, and get such a good time.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it's just been lucky.
Well, but it has focused you, hasn't it? On you, you're not taking your health for granted quite so much now.
There is no doubt. Yeah, I have always trained throughout my life, on and off, I suppose. Sometimes I've trained for a year or two, and then, you pick up an injury and you stop training, or probably the thing that I'd kept up the most, I swam for years and years and years, which I think is probably great for your heart and lungs. But yeah, certainly in the gym training, I've never been more focused than since the accident. I think partly I'd lost so much weight. Once they told me I could start weight training again, well, by that time I was starting to eat, and I think your body wants to return to its normal weight.
Yeah.
And maybe the body wanted to grow, and so the process seemed very, very quick, certainly at first, for putting on weight and size.
You must have remembered how big they were, and you rebuild that quickly, don't you?
Yeah.
Although they wouldn't let you drive the fire engine.
No. So, the fire brigade wanted me to, but if you have a head injury, you have to inform DVLA, and DVLA looked at my medical records, and they pulled my HGV licence. I think it's normal, from what they say, is people who have brain hemorrhages normally have fits, normally fit. I'm unusual there, that I never fitted. And so because of that, they didn't pull my normal licence. I still can drive a car. But they just felt the risk for HGV is more stringent. And so what they said is, unless I can get a neurologist to say my risk of seizure was below 3% per annum, they wouldn't allow me to drive HGV. So I can't drive the fire engine anymore.
Are you going to go and see a neurologist and get him to say that your risk is beneath 3% per annum?
Well, to be honest, the NHS aren't interested.
Right.
As far as they're concerned, their neurologists are busy dealing with people like how I turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as they're concerned, I'm fit and well and able to go to work. They don't care whether I can drive a fire engine or not. I'm well enough to do something. They're not concerned on getting you back to being an astronaut or something. It doesn't equate to that. They're just there to fix you. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm fixed. So they're not interested in any of that. Fire brigade occupational health, I don't seem to be particularly interested in that either. As far as they're concerned, they're just interested in getting me back, or they was just interested in getting me back to being fit. Operationally, which they are satisfied at, and they said that the driving licence is down to DVLA, who never met me or done any tests on me. They've just looked at my medical history and said, he's fractured his skull, had 4 brain hemorrhages, been in a coma.
We don't fancy this. Let's up our arses.
Yeah, I understand. My accident was after the bin lorry guy in Scotland that had a fit and wiped a load of people out. So I think I can understand them being cautious.
Do you get paid extra to drive in the fire brigade these days?
No.
So there's someone else can drive it.
Yeah, although recent events. Oh, excuse me. So it's possible now, because I don't drive. Well, our new ADO, has asked for people to volunteer to drive because we haven't got enough drivers on our watch. Apparently, we're supposed to have 3, and we've only got 2. And he said if one of us non-drivers doesn't drive, that we may get transferred to another watch. Yeah, and someone from that watch transferred onto our watch.
Seems a bit harsh if you're that guy.
Yeah, I did say to him, I'm more than happy to drive if you can get me.
If you can get my HGV.
If you can get me, yes. Basically,
Reinstated.
I would need a neurologist to assess me,
Mm.
do a CAT scan or something, and evaluate it. But yeah. And then he was quite good at shirking the responsibility, saying, oh well, that he couldn't do that, but if I put in a business plan, that we could put that forward to occupational health, and then maybe we could get them to, because what he's saying is, if they're to train someone else to do the HGV, that it would cost them however much money it costs to get the HGV and their EFAD course, whereas I've already passed those, so it may be
Cost effective.
to get me a CAT scan and a neurologist to have a look at it. But yeah.
So that's the long saga of your personal health journey over the last few years.
Yeah. But yeah. I'm doing alright. So I was spaced out there for quite a while. And my memory was terrible. But it has settled. And
You're back to your old self.
I honestly don't know. How do you know? But I'm good. And that's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, a few years goes by, we might all get a bit dimmer. Our memory might get worse. But it's just you can't go from now in a blip to 3 years time or 5 years time to measure the difference. It happens gradually, so you don't notice.
True.
Yeah.
And you can never rely on your memory entirely to know if how you remember things is actually how they were.
No.
I mean, we know what it's like being in a different state of mind, like perhaps on some sort of intoxicant or in some sort of altered state of mental cognition. But even though you know what that's like, it's very hard to put yourself back there. The memory of it is not the same as actually experiencing it. If you try and imagine what it's like being high on drugs, even if you've actually done them and experienced it,
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a very accurate memory. It's only when you're on it and you're experiencing it can you put yourself in that mental state, because it's not a mental state that you can arrive at naturally. So it's hard to mimic in your own mind. You see, when you see someone who's upset or in distress, you can put yourself in their mental position almost. You can imagine and empathise.
Yeah.
But an unnatural...
That's what you're saying. If you see someone with their tits on heroin or...
It's very hard to put yourself in their head.
I imagine if you'd taken heroin at some point in your life...
You might
you would
recognise it.
You might have that memory.
I think you recognise it, but I think it's very hard to put yourself there.
Yeah, well, I suppose it depends.
I mean, if someone said to you, what's it like to be on LSD? Well, you might have memories of what it's been like, but
Okay.
there's no way you can imagine that.
So-
You just know that it's bloody mental.
Okay, so 25 years ago, me and you did take LSD.
Yeah. And we
Oh.
remember all the details of that night like it was yesterday, don't we?
Yeah.
But if you try and put yourself in the mind of someone on LSD, it all goes a bit fuzzy, doesn't it?
or to remember how you felt.
Yeah, you can't put yourself in that mental state because it's so different to the mental state we occupy presently. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the thing is that you're talking about something that happened such a long while ago. Yeah, I probably can't remember. I can actually what it was like when I first was with a young lady. You know, I probably can't remember how it felt. In all honesty, I can remember the next day walking on cloud 9.
Well, I'm telling you, if you took LSD tonight with me,
Yeah.
next week,
Surely then you would.
you'd remember all the details, but the actual kind of
You don't think you remember how it felt? Oh, I don't know.
you'd remember feelings associated with it. But the fact is, when you're on LSD, some parts of your brain are connected to other parts of the brain that they not normally are. Other parts of your brain seem to be like almost suspended and not doing what they should be doing. And the mindset's so different to a standard mindset, it's hard, you can't imagine it. And I think, if your brain's had to rewire itself because you've had a brain injury, your perception and memory of what it was like before that brain injury might be considerably different to what it actually is, because your memory is really one of these, it's quite a selective thing. It seems that when you look back at things, you can remember them in a way that they weren't. I mean, certainly, if you can watch a videotape of yourself, an event that you think you remember, and find from the video evidence that you don't remember it that accurately. It happens all the time.
Yeah, okay. It's funny. So, I've never spoken to you about this, but I kind of had this thing, where, I don't always have the best memory for things.
No.
Yeah? I just don't.
I know that from how many times you put something somewhere safe and you can't remember where that somewhere safe is.
Yeah, and subsequently, I have this thing. I don't like to lie or be deceivious, because I will get caught out. I know I will. I know other people can get away with it, but I kind of have this thing. I don't believe I can, because I'll get tripped up.
Well, yeah, the thing is, once you make a deception, it has ripples. It sends out ripples. If you did something then because of that, and you say that, and that's your story, then your story might end up not making sense in a different area, because if you were there, you can't be there, or you might end up recalling the story differently when questioned multiple times because you made something up before which wasn't true.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, trying to get more into context, what I'm talking about is things like, in a relationship, things that happen, arguments, if you like, yeah? So, I have to be very careful. I don't have to be careful because I can't just do it, but I'm aware that I just say it as it is, and I'm just honest at what's happened and what I've seen, and because I may not always remember exactly what was said, like what I said to my wife and what she said to me, yeah?
But if you're honest, you're consistent.
But if I'm honest, I'm consistent, and I remember how it felt. Yeah? Because I was telling, and so I know it, if I was telling the truth, yeah, my memory of the situation, even if I can't remember all the words, the whole conversation, I still have a memory picture of.
Well, it's a famous quote that you don't always remember what was said, but you remember how people made you feel. But I was actually a good liar as a teenager. I could weave a long story, remember all the details, keep on top of it. But I've been reading a book called The Manipulated Man, which is about how we're brought up by women to behave as women would like us to behave. And that we actually manipulate ourselves in the end, and that all the male qualities are basically things which are useful to women. One of them being an interest in truthful speech. And that's apparently this female author, who's very harsh in her criticisms of women, thinks that men are very much interested in trying to speak the truth, and that's a virtue that's instilled in men. And I think that I always try and speak the truth. Sometimes the truth's not comfortable, and I've upset people in the name of the truth, often because I don't know when to shut up. If I hear someone say something wrong, I'll say, no, that's not correct, because people don't like being corrected. Sometimes you're best off just to stay out of these things, but I try and be honest. And you're right, you haven't got much to worry about if you're honest. If you've got nothing to hide, you may as well be honest.
Yeah.
It saves you tripping yourself up. Anyway, cheers for the conversation.
One of our girl.